So, and with this, I would like to end my presentation and would give the floor to Maarten.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it is very special for me to be back here. 25 years ago, I volunteered on what would now be called a social farm, but back then it was just a farm that had all kinds of really amazing activities, and there was something about that sense of magic that touched me and actually led me onto this career. So when Marjolein told me she was going here and what this conference was about, I was very thankful to be able to come full circle and come back to this. I think a word that really came back for me was that that what you guys do, what the farm that I was at, Jean and Jerry Beattie in County Sligo, was not always recognized, and definitely not recognized in terms of the services they truly provide. And I think what I set out to do, I have a background in econometrics, is to see if I could make that recognition more tangible, and I've been blessed to be able to work on that over the years. You heard a little bit about the numbers of care farming in the Netherlands. It's become quite big. And I wanted to say something about what that actually means in terms of healthcare. I think here in Ireland, the same thing is happening, that there's a shift from healthcare in the traditional sense to more how can we improve quality of life. All those 30,000 people that come to the farms in the Netherlands have a higher quality of life in terms of social health, in terms of mental health, in terms of physical health. And that has a huge impact on the entire healthcare system, which is under a lot of stress in the entire Western world. And so I've seen this same issue all over the world. There's a workforce crisis, there's too much cost in healthcare. Everyone's trying to shift to prevention, but how to find the solutions. And what we found in the Netherlands is that care farming is definitely a part of that because it provides such holistic health. Inclusion is another aspect. And most farms in the Netherlands are focused on either reintegration people into education, into work, into social networks, and improving and empowering their own ability to take care of themselves, which is a very important way to kind of curb this crisis and to also showcase that the world is better when we include everyone into our lives. Whereas 30, 40 years ago in the Netherlands, people with a disability would be in a separate place and not integrated into community. We are now seeing that inclusion is better for everyone, including those that are so-called able. Whereas on a farm, that is no issue and everyone is included and everyone can contribute. The third thing is that living at home, living independently is a very important issue in the Netherlands, especially with the aging population. People want to live at home and they want to stay independent as long as possible. During COVID, we had care farms closed for maybe 10 days until the government realized that this was leading to an increase of people needing much higher levels of care. And so the amount of money spent on day services is about a third to a quarter of the care that is needed once people are institutionalized. And so the savings, as I forget the name of the speakers, in the investment are very great. And it was quickly recognized, and care farms were able to provide day services during COVID and provide people the opportunity to stay at home. A topic that I think is important for you all too is that it's not just in terms of healthcare services that care farms provide something great, but also in terms of rural and agricultural economy. I think that's where it started in the Netherlands, and over the years that's become more of an outcome that's not even thought of anymore, but it's very important. Care farming in the Netherlands is part of what we call multifunctional agriculture, where services are provided to the community, and it equates to almost 1 billion euros in revenues for farmers that were not there. It creates, in the Netherlands, almost 10,000 jobs in healthcare in rural areas where normally there would be no jobs of such kind. It also provides a better opportunity for farms to be succeeded by the next generation. Multifunctional farmers are much more looked after, sought after to be continued into the future. Thank you. So what we see is that both agriculture and care have come together and grown tremendously in the Netherlands. In total, the revenue in terms of healthcare, and again, it's not about money, but it's about the impact we have on the healthcare sector, is 315 million for the 1,300 farmers that we represent. We are also now a partner in all new legislation for all of healthcare. And as a previous speaker also said, is that sometimes we are seen as a way of what healthcare should be like. We also see that most care farmers in the Netherlands are, most of the entrepreneurship comes from the women who often work in healthcare, get frustrated in the system, choose to work on a farm, and then change the system with that knowledge and vision, but in a totally different setting. And that provides a huge source of innovation and inspiration in the healthcare sector, which has been very recognized. And in COVID, I was invited to many national platforms, and it's really surprising to me now that we are basically integrated into all legislation and very recognized on the national level. I'm the director of the National Federation, as was mentioned, and we provide advocacy, a national quality standard, and we will launch a new quality framework tomorrow, actually. And we do a lot of communication, and we also have developed a national academy, because the educated force in care farming is increasing very much so. And I would say 75 to 80% of people now have a healthcare education, as well as other education working on care farms. What I wanted to mention about what you need is a liberalized market, and I think it's something that you guys are working on. That's what Marjolein talked about too. Once there was an opportunity for clients and people needing care to choose, many of them chose other providers. It has led to innovation in the providers in the Netherlands as well. And that's something that's really required. In the other countries that I work in, that was always the challenge. Does the government have the guts to open up the market to really provide choice and have a stimulus for innovation? Where you guys are at now, I think, is where the Netherlands was about 15 years ago, when that liberalization of the market was starting to happen, when the collaboration of farmers to contract with insurance companies and municipalities was starting to happen. We now, my members are the 14 regional organizations. They have very much a position in the market. They sometimes speak on behalf of 150 farmers and are considered an institution, just with many different locations. So I would say, have hope. You're in the right moment, in the right momentum. And the crisis in healthcare is so big that we need creative solutions, and I think care farming is very much a part of that solution. I can also imagine that some of you think, oh my goodness, that's not for us. This is way too big. This is not where we want to be headed. And we have seen this too. We can see professional aging and growth as a potential way to lose the values that we have. So tomorrow we will launch what we call the National Quality Framework, where we started with the clients and with the core values of what a care farm should be for everyone that comes there, and use that as a way to continue to always keep those core values, but at the same time grow more professional, because we are also a care provider. We are true farmers, true care providers. And I personally always think back to Jean and Jerry Beatty, who wanted to be here today, because the magic that I experienced there was something that needs to be well grounded in what we do into the future, because that's the only way we will continue to contribute. And so I feel like in the Netherlands, I was able to gain the recognition of that multifunctional agriculture, that true benefit that we can have to society. We're not quite there yet in Ireland, but we're on the way. So I have about 20 years of my career back. Maybe in 20 more years, I can come back here and celebrate it. And I really hope you guys will get there, because I think it's amazing, and what all of you farmers are doing is truly amazing for the people you do, but also the communities you live in. And so good luck to you, and thanks again. If you want to get a hold of any of us, feel free. We'd love to share. Yeah, if you take a picture of the QR code, then you can get to the publication that Marjolein showed in English.